So I was here this morning to see the bra reveal of Louise and Cheryl. And I saw them take out a mirror, food, Kleenex. What did I not see them take out of their bras? Money. Now here's the problem. What did it take? I have one more. I never knew a bra could hold so much. Right? What did it take for them to actually purchase the Kleenex, the coconut oil, the mirror, and everything else that were in those little titties? It took money, my friends. It took money. And while I'm very aware that many of you, if not most of you, are here so that you can be more in your life, one of the goals of being more is so that you can have more. Now, while I would be the very first to tell you money alone will never make you happy, I will also be the first to tell you lack of money sure will make you miserable. I was signing books earlier today, and the women that were in the line were coming up to me, and they were saying things such as, Susie, help me value myself. I'm a single mother, and my children, all they care about is the money that I can give them. Why do you think your children only care about the money that you can give them? Is it possible that's all you're giving them and you're not giving them of yourself? But what are you giving yourself when it comes to money? The name of this talk is Women and Money. And the men that are out there, here's the scoop. This talk is for you as well. All you have to do is put your little finger over the WO. And now we're talking about men and money too. Now let me tell you, men, why this is so important. Do you know that 1 out of 2 people who get married, they get divorced? And the number one reason for divorce is arguments over money. Now, very seldom in my life will I ever say men have something right. But when it comes to money, most men have it right. Because men know what the goal of money is for. They know that money could be for them. They don't have a problem saying, no, I'm not lending you money. No, I'm not going to give all the money I made away. Women, on the other hand, we do not have it right. And that's what hopefully I'm going to do with you today by the end of this hour and a half. Because here is the bottom line. You will never, ever, ever be powerful in your lives until you are powerful over your money, how you think about it, how you feel about it, and how you act with it. But the problem with women is this. Ladies, we have the ability to give birth. We even have the ability to feed that which we have given birth to. We can feed it. So our nature is to give. Our nature is to nurture. We give to everybody. We give to our mother, our father, our children, our brothers, our sisters, our employers, our employees, our pets, and our plants before we give to ourselves. The last person we think about when it comes to our money is us. And that is wrong. We have all got to learn to give to ourselves as much as we give of ourselves. Now, I know this is true universally, that when you get on an airplane, do they not say to you, when the oxygen mask falls down, to put it on your face first? Ladies, they're talking to you. Men would know to put it on their faces first. They wouldn't have to think about it. But what would you do? The oxygen mask would fall down. Your little 10-year-old, 5-year-old, 3-year-old, 2-month-old is sitting next to you, and you would take that oxygen mask and put it on their face to make sure they're okay. But if something then happened to you and you didn't make it, who would take care of them? Who? The same is true with money. If you don't take care of yourselves financially speaking, who is really going to be able to take care of them? And what are you teaching them, especially your daughters? Are you teaching them that women just don't matter? Are you teaching them that the goal of money is to make sure everybody else is okay except for you? You have to teach them that it's okay to care about who they are, what they have, what they do with the money that they've made, and there's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself first. Now, I'm very aware that many of you here don't have a clue who I am. And honestly speaking, that's a new experience for me. Because in the United States, everybody knows who I am. And I know because when they see me walking down the street, they turn the other way. Because they don't want me to ask them a question about their money. But since you don't know who I am, I'm going to ask you a few questions about who you are so that I know that I can give the right talk to you about your money. Now, I'm asking you, Melbourne, to be honest with me. You are not to lie when I ask you these questions. Do you hear me? Okay. I want you to stand and stay standing if you have credit card debt. Please stand and stay standing. Stay standing. Look around, everybody. Okay, stay standing. Now, I want you to stand if you have credit card debt, car loan debt, mortgage debt, student loan debt, credit card debt, still stand. Still stand, credit card debt. I want you to stand if you have debt of any kind, stand. All right. Now we have a real problem because how can I talk to you about money? You don't have any. I want you, for possibly the first time in your lives, to turn to the person next to you and tell them exactly how much debt you have. Go for it, Melbourne. Come back to me. You can sit down now. Now, what's interesting is about 90% of you in this room have debt. And I am sure 100% of those 90%ers have never told anybody how much debt they had before in their lives. Abundance, wealth, richness starts with honesty. It starts with you having the ability to stand in the truth, to tell people what is real about you, to tell people that you don't have the money right now. Doesn't mean you're not always going to have it. But how many times have you gone out to eat and you've given your credit card to the waiter and you're sitting there the whole time hoping that when they come back, they're not going to say, sorry, you don't have the funds. And you know you shouldn't be doing that, but yet you don't have what it takes to tell the people in your life the truth about your financial situation. And what's so sad about it is that probably the people that you're afraid to talk to about your financial situation are in a worse financial situation than you. And because we're not talking about it, we are creating a world of debt, a world of lies, a world where we define ourselves by the clothes we wear and the jewelry and the cars we drive in our homes, versus defining ourselves by who we are. And the question is going to have to be asked and answered in this next hour. Who are we when you cannot define yourself by your job titles, the money in your bank account, what you do, the fact that you're a mother or a father? Who are you at that point in time? But before we go there, I want to tell you a little bit about me. Now, I stand up here in front of you a seriously wealthy woman. Now, first of all, who would you want to stand up here and tell you about money? Somebody who doesn't have any? But it wasn't always that way with me. So I want to tell you a story, because if I can stand up here in front of you, now being known as the personal finance expert of the world, anything and everything is possible for every single one of you in this room. I was born on the south side of Chicago in the United States of America. If you don't know what that is, let me put it to you this way. It is known as the Hood. On television, when they show Chicago and they show where the killings are and the robberies and everything, they are showing you my neighborhood. When I grew up, my parents had absolutely no money whatsoever. So we had to stay on the south side of Chicago, and I was a white face and maybe one of the only white faces in a sea of black faces. Now that was the greatest thing that ever happened to me in my life, because it taught me about life. But we'll get there in a second. So when I was growing up, I couldn't pronounce words. I couldn't say R's, S's, or T's. So words such as beautiful came out as boobittle. Because I couldn't speak, I could not read. Because I could not read, in my school, when they gave you reading exams and they would seat you according to your grade on these reading exams, there I was in the last seat of the last row. I knew I was dumb. I knew I was stupid. I knew I would never, ever be anything, so why should I even try? I did go to the University of Illinois, but the entire time that I was there, I never got a grade above a C. In fact, after 4 years of going to school, I didn't even graduate. So here I was working all the time to get myself through college. I only went because my mother was like, Susie, please, you gotta go to college. You gotta make something of yourself. You can't end up like me, Susie. You gotta do this. Now, my mother was a secretary and sold Avon on the side. My father was sick almost his entire life. So here I am, and I'm going, I can be something, according to my mother, but inside, I was telling myself, I'll never be anything as long as I live. So after 4 years at the university, I convinced my brother Bobby to lend me $1,500 to buy a Ford Econoline van so that I could live in it and go out to California and see if I could make my fortune. Well, he lent me the money, and I went out to California, and I lived on the streets for 3 or 4 months in that van until I landed my dream job, a waitress at the Buttercup Bakery. Now, I was a waitress at the Buttercup Bakery making $400 a month. That was in 1973. I was essentially 22 years of age. Are you all trying to figure out how old I am now? Should I just help you out, peeps? All right, I am 61. I do, I look good, don't I? And you know what's so great? It's all me, because when a woman wears really short hair and she's my age, she's got nothing to hide, except I have one thing to hide, the junk in my trunk. which is why I usually wear a long coat on stage, but that's a whole nother topic. Okay, so here I am being a waitress at the Buttercup Bakery in 1973. But I wasn't just a waitress from 1973 to 1974. Oh, no, 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 no. I was a waitress from 1973 to 1974, to 1975, to 1976, to 1977, 78, 79, 80. I am now 29 years of age, and I get this idea. I know I can be more than just a waitress. I can open up my own restaurant. So what does somebody do who's 29 and doesn't have any money? They pick up the phone and they call their mom. And I said, Mom, if you could just give me $20,000, Mom, just $20,000, I can open up my own restaurant. I could be something, Mom. And she says, Susie, honey, where are we going to get that kind of money? We don't have $20,000, sweetheart. Now, I didn't feel bad because my mom said no to me. I felt bad because what it must have felt like for her to have to say no to me. Because, ladies, you know that when your daughter asks you for something, you want to say, yes, here, sweetheart, my life is your life. You can have anything and everything. And if you don't have anything to give her, what does it make you feel like? It makes you feel like a nothing. So I went to work the next morning, and this man, Fred, who I'd been waiting on for 7 years, he ate a jack, cheese, and ham omelet every day for 7 years. Okay, get the picture here. He comes in and he says, Susie, what's wrong? You don't look happy. And I told Fred the story. Fred went and sat with all the gentlemen I had been waiting on for all that time. And before he left, he came back and he comes up to the counter and he says, Susie, I have something for you. And with that, he throws down on the counter all these pieces of paper. And I start opening them up, and one by one, it's a check for $2,000, a commitment for $15,000. Before I knew it, there was $50,000 that the people I had been waiting on gave me. And then he gave me a little note that he had written on a napkin that I still have to this day. And this is what it said. It said, Susie, this is for people like you to have your dreams come true, to be paid back in 10 years at no interest if you can. So I'm looking at him, and now I'm trembling, and I said, Fred, I have a question to ask you. Are these checks going to bounce like all mine do? And he said, no, Susie, we want you to take this money down to Merrill Lynch and put it in a money market account. And I said, well, Fred, I have 2 more questions to ask you. What's Merrill Lynch and what's a money market account? In the States, Merrill Lynch was a brokerage firm. A money market account was like a savings account that was paying a high interest rate. And so I did exactly what he said. I gathered up everything, and with my $50,000, I went down to Merrill Lynch. And when I walked into Merrill Lynch, they assigned me to what's called the broker of the day, the financial advisor who sees everybody that comes in that day. So I find myself sitting with Randy, who was his name, and I told him what the money was for. And he said to me, Susie, how would you like to make a quick $100 a week? I said, Randy, that's more money than I make as a waitress. And he said, just sign here on the bottom line. Now, I'm sitting there in an office, a financial advisory firm, and they're telling me to sign on the bottom line, and I believe them. So I do so without even looking at anything that I'm signing. How many of you have ever signed papers you've never read? And before I knew it, I left. Randy had filled out those papers and made it look like I was a wealthy, knowledgeable woman, and qualified me to do trading in shares. Well, in 3 months, all $50,000 was lost. Oh, did you just hear your reaction? If that hadn't happened to me, I would not be standing on this stage in front of you. Your first lesson, you should write it down. When one door closes, another one opens. Every no leads you that much closer to a yes. And you have to never, ever forget, ladies and gentlemen, that everything, and I mean absolutely everything in your life, happens for the best. You cannot look at something and say, that's great, that's bad, that's good, that's sad. You have got to live your life where everything is seen as a blessing from God. Everything is seen as a gift for you to be who you are meant to be, even if you don't know what you are meant to be. Because you think you want to go this way, but maybe the world has a plan for you that wants you to take you this way and higher than you ever dreamt possible. But you're sad when there's a loss. So here I am, and I've lost $50,000, and I'm thinking, you know, Fred said I didn't have to pay it back. That's what that little note said. I didn't have to. But that wouldn't have been the right thing to do. So I decided, I know, I can be a broker. They just make you broker. So I got dressed in my red and white striped Sassoon pants. I was a size 6 back then. I was hot. If only. I know I was talking to Cheryl Richardson earlier about losing weight and things like that. And she said, you're just not ready yet, Susie. And I went, she's right. I'm not ready. But when I am, wow. Anyway, okay. So here I am, red and white striped pants, tucked into my white cowboy boots, with a blue silk shirt. This is 1980. I looked like the American flag. And I walk into Merrill Lynch, where they had 100 male brokers. There was not one female broker in 1980 in the Oakland office in California of Merrill Lynch. Not one. And I walk in looking like the American flag, telling them I want to be a stockbroker. And so there I am, and before I know it, I'm in the manager's office because nobody knew what to do with me. And he looks at me, and he says, you know, Susie, I personally believe women belong barefoot and pregnant. But I am going to hire you. But trust me, you will be out of here in 6 months. Now, the reason that he hired me wasn't because I was a size 6 in Sassoon pants, was because back in the United States in 1980, there was something called affirmative action, which made these firms start to have to hire women. He had to do it. And as soon as he did it, then he could fire me. So in my innocence, I kind of looked at him and I said, so Peter, his name was Peter Sansevero. I love telling the story on television in the States. I love it. But anyway, I said, Peter, how much are you going to pay me to make me pregnant? And he said, $1,500 a month. And I said, oh. And it did not take me long to figure out that $400 a month at the Buttercup Bakery for I could make in 2 years. It would have taken me 2 years to make the $9,000 that he was going to pay me. So I said, I'll take the job. So now here I am, and I'm going every single day to be a stockbroker, driving at this point now a 1967 Volvo station wagon, while all the other brokers were driving BMWs, Jaguars, Mercedes-Benz, all parked in a fancy parking lot. I knew that I did not belong there. I didn't look like them. I didn't have money like them. I didn't understand anything anybody was talking about. But I decided I was going to go for it. Now, here I am, and I'm going to work, and I'm studying to be a broker, and all of a sudden I read that what my broker, Randy, did was illegal, that you cannot invest money for somebody in a way that they can lose it unless they can afford to lose it, which I couldn't afford to do. So I go into Peter's office, and I said, Peter, you have a crook that works here for you. And I tell him the story. And he says to me, Susie, that crook makes us a lot of money. So go back and sit in your little cubicle and don't say anything. So again, I go and I sit down and I think, well, he did say he was going to fire me in 2 months because I was 4 months into this now. And I was thinking about, all right, so I lost the money. Again, I thought about the little letter that said I didn't have to pay it back. But then I started to think, but what if it wasn't me? What if it was you? Or your grandmother or grandfather or mother, sister, who is older, and they didn't have time to make that money back. And that was all they had. So it would be easy for me to sit there and do absolutely nothing, but it would not have been right. So I did the only thing that I knew what to do, and I sued Merrill Lynch while I was working for him. Now, here's the great news of that story. Because I sued them, they couldn't fire me. And I didn't even know that. So now everything's coming to light. Now Peter Sansevero gets a promotion, believe it or not. And another manager comes in who looks at everything and he says, this is ridiculous. And now they give me all the money back, plus 18% interest at that time, because that's what interest rates were in the United States back in 1980. And I was able to give every single person who invested in me all their money back plus 18%. And that's where the story begins. Now, Now, I do not tell you that story to impress you, although you should be. I tell you that story to inspire you to understand that anything and everything is possible in your life if you simply walk towards who you are meant to be versus away from it. And money, having money in your life, is something that is meant to be. So the next question has to be asked and again answered: why don't you have the money in your life that you want? What is going on that maybe she has more money than you and you have more money than her? Do you all think that God just looks down and decides who's going to win the lottery, so to speak? Do you think that's how it works? Or what are you doing to be an obstacle in your own path to financial freedom? Because I am here to tell each and every one of you, if you don't have the money that you want in your life, you are the reason why. You are either thinking you don't deserve it, you're saying you're never going to get out of debt, or you are taking actions and giving all of your money or anything that you do to somebody else because you don't think you are worthy. So, the number one law of money: power attracts money, powerlessness repels it. What are you doing in your life that renders you powerless? I can tell you: debt. Debt is bondage. You already all stood up and told me you have debt, especially those of you who have credit card debt. When you have debt, you have bondage. When you have bondage, you feel powerless. And when you are powerless, you repel money. Why is that true? Money cannot do anything on its own. If I took out a 20 Rand note here and I dropped it, and I didn't even notice that I dropped it, it cannot scream to me, Susie, come back and get me. Susie, I'm here. This cannot do anything without me. It will stay here until a person takes it or picks it up. If you want to go to the store, you want to buy something, you have got to hand this over to a person. A person has to take it, put it in the register, and give you change. So on its own, money cannot do anything. Are we in agreement there? Have you ever noticed in your life, when you are powerful, you're feeling good? You've lost the 20 pounds that you've lost 5 times before, you've lost it again. Your hair is looking exactly like you want it to. Everything is going great, your relationship, everything. Have you ever noticed when you are feeling powerful that your phone rings, people want to go out with you, everybody is attracted to you? So power attracts people. And if people control money, you're the ones who go out and earn it, you're the ones who decide to save it or spend it, people control money. We agree to that, right? So, if power attracts people and people control money, give you a pay raise, give you a job promotion, hire you, if power attracts people and people control money, do you understand how power attracts money? Do you get that? Because I am a powerful woman, because I put things out there, people are attracted to me, and things come my way. But even with me, when I'm not feeling good, for whatever reason it may be, I get afraid, maybe I'm going to try something that I haven't tried before, who knows what, I will notice that when I'm powerless, my phone stops ringing, people stop calling me, television shows don't want me to come on, and somehow my powerlessness is repelling people, which repels money. So you have got to do things in your lives that removes whatever is making you powerless. It might be a bad relationship. It might be that you're overweight or whatever it may be, or you're just thinking that you don't deserve something. That's what today has been all about. Can you change your life by simply loving your life? Can you change your financial situation by simply loving your current financial situation? And can you change this world simply by loving yourself? And I'm here to say you absolutely can. So power attracts money, powerlessness repels it. Debt is bondage, debt renders you powerless. If you were to do one financial move that could change that dynamic in your life, it would be to get rid of your debt. Get rid of your credit card debt. Get rid of mortgage debt as soon as you can. Stop buying things you cannot afford to impress people you don't even know or like. Got that, Melbourne? Want me to say it again? Stop spending money you don't have to impress people you don't even know or like. The person next to you doesn't care what kind of car you're driving, just because you're both at the same stop sign. Live your life in honesty. Live your life where you are standing in the truth. Tell people the truth, because nothing makes you more powerful in life than being in the truth every single moment of your life. Next law of money. What you think, say, and do has got to be one. You know, you have to be very careful, because your thoughts create your destiny. It is said that what you think, you will eventually say. What you say will eventually become your actions become your habits, and your habits become your destiny. So if you think to yourself, I'm never, ever, ever going to have money. I'm not good with math. I don't deserve money. I'm never going to have what I need in my life. You will think it, and you will say it, and you'll probably make those actions come true. But so many times you think like this: I really want to be financially free. You said that to me today in line. You said, Susie, talk to me about financial freedom. So you think you want to be financially free, yet you say to everybody, oh, I just can't deal with money, I'm not good with it. Or maybe you think and you say to everybody, I want to be financially free and I'm good with it, but you take no actions whatsoever to make that happen. Your thoughts, your words, and your actions have got to be one. I call them mantrika shakti. It's your energy. It's what you create by the mantras, by the words that you say. Now, remember earlier I said to you that I went to work and everybody was driving these fancy cars, and here I was driving a 67 Volvo, and I was actually parking on the street and getting tickets so that I could go work them off in community service versus parking in the big parking lot. So I knew that I didn't belong, and I told you that as well, and I knew I needed to create a truth that could get me through everything that I thought I didn't deserve, because I was so afraid. And over the years, as I've been doing this, I have learned one thing. People don't have money. You know how everybody says, if I just had money, I'd be happy? Have you ever said that? Have you, Melbourne? Yeah, you have. The reason you don't have money is because you're not happy. Money will never make you happy. That's true, right? But if you're not happy, you will never, ever, ever have money, because it just is repelled from you. So sometimes when you're afraid, especially you have fear of money, you have to be able to take an action to silence that fear. So my fear when I was a financial advisor just starting out was I didn't belong. So I created a new truth for myself that was directly opposite my fear. My fear was I didn't belong. My new truth was I'm young, powerful, and successful, producing at least $10,000 a month. Now, I wasn't that young. I was 30 years of age. I was not powerful on any level. I was not successful, and making at least $10,000 a month. Are you kidding? My father didn't even make $10,000 a year sometimes. But it did not matter. I said that truth 25 times a day when I got up. I screamed it. I would write it down 25 times a day. And even before I had ever really heard of Louise Hay, I would say it silently into the mirror, looking back at myself 25 times before I went to bed. 6 months later, that truth became a reality. 6 months later, after I became a financial advisor, I started to get checks for at least $10,000 a month. So I ask all of you right here and right now to write down, what is your greatest fear when it comes to money? Write it down. Now, I want you to look at your fear, and I want you to create a new truth that is directly opposite that fear. So if your fear is, I'll never have enough money, then your new truth has to be, I have more money than I will ever need. Your truth has to be as if it has already happened. You cannot say, one day I'll have more money than I'll ever need. When will that day happen? I have more money than I will ever need. You cannot limit your new truth. Notice how I said I would produce at least $10,000 a month. If I were to make more than $10,000 a month, why should I limit myself? So don't limit yourself with your thoughts. What is somebody's fear? Tell me. Who had a fear here? Say that again? That money creates evil. You think that. So she said to me, her greatest fear is that money creates evil, and not having enough of it is what creates the evil. So people fight over it because there's not enough of it. You have got to remember, money cannot do anything on its own. Money is just this piece of paper. If I took this piece of paper and I ripped it up right now, right, it would not scream. Oh, you can't rip up an Aussie dollar. Oh, you are all very smart. Ooh. In the United States, it rips very easily. Maybe that has been our problem. Right? But it can't do anything. Money is not evil. Money has never raped anybody. Money has never murdered anybody. People's love of money, people's desire to have money, that's something you should fear. But those are people who desire it for the wrong reason. For yourself, money isn't evil. Do you have children? Are you married? Do you have a mother? Do you love your mother? So my mother right now is 97 years of age. Anyway, that's another story. And without money right now, my mother wouldn't be able to live in an apartment and have 24-hour care around the clock with private nurses and all the things that my money now can give to her. It costs me $25,000 US a month to take care of my mother, because nurses in the United States are expensive and she can't do anything on her own. I'm not even sure she even knows who I am half the time. But that's because I have money. I can take care of my mother in a dignified way so that she can live till her very last breath in a respectful way that she doesn't even know. Right? But if I didn't have money, then chances are my mother would have to be in a nursing home where nobody would pay attention to her, and she would sit there like all the other little people in the chairs, not knowing where they are. And is that it? So you have got to change that money is evil. Money is fabulous, people. Money is absolutely heavenly. Money can change your lives so that you have the ability then to help others who may never have the ability to help themselves truthfully. So what was your new truth that you created? She didn't get to that yet. It figures. Who has a truth that they created? Yes, over here. Rich? Rich? Now you want to be rich. Now, she just said her new truth is, I'm going to be rich. When are you going to be rich? I am rich. And when you say it, you have got to mean it. You can't just say, I'm going to be rich. You have to say, I am rich, I am rich, I am rich, I am rich, I am rich. And on and on and on until it becomes the truth. Because it is the truth, because you are rich already. You're rich in thought, you're rich in vitality, you're rich in the ability to even be here today. But it's not enough to come here today and just leave here thinking great thoughts. It isn't enough to leave here today thinking that everything's going to change just because you say you love yourself. Now, it will change. But if money then starts to come to you and you have not educated yourselves on what to do with it, then the question has to be, will you be able to hold it? Will you be able to create more out of it? What will you do with it? Now, women, in order to have money in your lives, you have got to stop putting yourselves on sale. I'm serious. You have got to learn how to ask for what you are worth. You have got to stop being afraid to ask or tell your boss you want a raise. The quickest way to get a raise is, rather than just going in and saying to your boss, I'd like a 10% raise, you might want to say to your boss, I want a 10 or 15% raise. Which one will it be? Because the first one was a yes or no answer. The second one was not. If you want something in your lives, do not give people the opportunity to say no to you. But they will say no to you if you say no to yourselves. Now, there's laws of money. The laws such as power attracts money, powerlessness repels it. The truth creates money, lies destroy it. Your words create your destiny along with your thoughts. All of those are true. But there are also qualities of wealth that every single one of you needs to have in your life. And there are actually 8 of them. I didn't take them from Buddha, but it's a good number. The first quality of wealth is harmony. And harmony relates to what I originally said, where your thoughts, your words, and actions are one. You know, so many of you live your life where you're really not in harmony with your life. You have one foot in your work life, your professional life, in this boat. Then you have another foot in another boat, which is your personal boat, the boat where your family lives, all of these things, okay? And what happens is, when these boats start to go in separate directions, what happens to you? You fall in. So it is very important that you have both feet in one boat. So your life is harmonious, so that everything is going in the direction you want it to go. So how do you start to think, say, and do the same thing? Every action you take, every word that you say, every thought that you think has got to pass through 3 gatekeepers. Is it kind? Is it necessary? And is it true? If you say, think, or do something that isn't kind, necessary, and true, all 3 of those, you are not in harmony with yourself. Am I making sense? You are out of harmony. So harmony is the number 1 quality of wealth. Second quality is balance. It is very important that you stand strong with who you are. If you are out of balance and somebody comes to you and pushes you, you will fall over. But in your life, you have to live a balanced life. Balanced life meaning that if you have money, you spend it respectfully. If you don't have money, you don't. You stay in balance with your money, balance in what you spend your money on. Third quality, courage. You need courage in order to say what you are thinking and do what you are feeling and to live in harmony. Because the problem with women is this. You have $5,000 that you've saved, and your sister comes to you and says, I need $5,000, and you think, I am not lending you this money, you're feeling like you are taking advantage of me again. Every time I lend you money, you never pay it back. And what do? You say, okay, let me go get my checkbook. What you think and you do has got to be in harmony with the truth. And it takes courage for you to say the truth. Once you have harmony, balance, and courage to say what you're thinking, do what you're feeling, always stand in the truth, then what will happen is you will feel powerful. And when you're powerful, you will feel generous. Generosity is the fourth quality of wealth. Now, this is a very important quality for women in particular. Because women, generosity is when you are giving a gift to somebody else, but you are also giving it, and it is a gift to yourself. If you are giving something to somebody and you have to put it on a credit card because you can't afford it, that is not a gift. That is not you being generous. That's actually you being selfish. Are you understanding that? So true generosity is when you give somebody something, it's also a gift to you. So if you can't afford it, write them a note. Give them a foot massage. Do something. But generosity is when you are honest about what you can afford to give. Now, when you have all four of those going, you do start to feel more powerful and more energy starts to come up in your life. And the fifth quality is cleanliness. If your cars look like garbage cans, if you have items that you have purchased in your closets that still have price tags on or they're in boxes and you have never used them, you are somebody who buys out of fear. You are somebody who has to go through a cleansing to get to the truth of what's going on in your life. Cleanliness is where everything is in order. You know exactly what you have. You know when your bills are due. Everything is meticulous. Cleanliness is essential for wealth. Otherwise, you pay your bills late, you buy a fifth white turtleneck again because you didn't know you had them. So everything needs to be clean. When you feel clean, you feel beautiful. And beauty is one of the qualities of wealth. Now, I'm not talking about the beauty where all of a sudden you have all this makeup on and you have all these fancy clothes on. I'm talking about the beauty that Louise and Cheryl were talking to you about this morning. The beauty that you see looking at yourself when you're looking in the mirror and what looks back at you. You feel beautiful because you love who you are. But I can tell you, you do not love who you are if your houses are a chaotic mess. That is a symbol that something is going wrong in your lives. After you have this beauty, you walk into a room, everybody will notice that you're there. Everybody will stare at you. And they'll stare at you because you will have something that they want. Anybody can go out and buy clothes. Anybody can go and get their hair done and things like that. But that which can't be purchased, it can't be bought or sold at any price. That is the true gift that this world is waiting to give you if you'll open up and let it in. The last quality of wealth is wisdom. You have to live a life where you make wise choices with your money all the time. And when you live a life where you are making wise choices with your money, you feel beautiful about who you are. You're living in a very clean environment. And everything is ticking just like it should. And you have generosity where you're giving everything to people because you can afford to give it to them and they're giving back to you. And you have the courage to say what is right and to do what is right and to always live in the truth because you are in balance and you are in harmony. Then you have the qualities of wealth. And if all of those are ticking at one time, The amount of money that will flow into your lives will be absolutely unbelievable. So you have all of this happening to you. Now the question becomes, what do you do with your money? So I would like to just take a little bit of a switch here from the emotional and the spiritual side of money. And let's start talking about money really. You know, they say when the United States catches a cold or sneezes, the whole world catches a cold. And what Australia has never seen in the recent past of 20 or 30 years, truthfully, is true devastation when it comes to the economy. And thank God that hasn't happened here. I can tell you right now in the United States, 1 out of 2 people in the United States of America are either living in poverty or are on the brink of poverty. That is 150 million people are either in poverty or on the brink of poverty, 1 out of 2 people. And the lessons that have to be learned there are lessons that you need to take very, very seriously. And the big mistakes that were made in the United States of America is that as real estate started to go up and up and up, people bought more and more and more homes. As the stock market started to go up, people would buy shares, but they'd buy a lot of shares of one stock versus diversifying. What concerned me today as I was signing books is that every single woman that came up to me and talked to me about money told me they bought a home, they bought an investment property, and they want to buy another investment property. That scares me, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody talked to me about shares, and not one person in Australia talked to me about gold. Not one. So it is very important that besides getting yourselves out of debt and standing on a firm foundation so that you can feel powerful, that as you build upon that foundation so that one day you actually can retire, that you have true diversification in your lives. Just because you think you are not good at math, which you all told me in the line today, does not mean that you cannot understand how to invest your money. Now, here's what you also have to understand. What happens to your money affects the quality of your lives. Not my life, not your insurance agent's life, not your financial advisor's life, but your life. And the time has come where the blindfolds have got to be taken off. Now, I know that some of you, not all of you, some of you hand over your money so your husband can take care of it for you. I know that you take care of the money that's in your household. You pay the checks for the house, you know all the bills, you pay them. Why do you think you take care of the money in the household and you're not taking care of the money for investments? Has that ever dawned on you why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because your house holds everything that you love. Your children, your family members, your pets, everything in that house, and you are the nature. The nurture. Remember, your nature is to nurture. So you're taking care of that. But you're not willing to take care of that which keeps everything going after you and your husband, or just you and your life partner, or whatever it may be, can no longer work. So your goals, financially speaking, have to be very simple. You have to get yourselves out of debt. You need at least an 8-month emergency fund. Now, I used to say this in the United States of America years ago when all the financial advisors were saying, oh, all you need is 3 months of living expenses saved. Because if something happens to you, if you get sick, if you lose your job, that will do it. Don't be foolish. Anything can happen. Anything can happen to the economy. Anything can happen here because of China, China because of Europe, Europe because of the United States. We are a global economic economy now. Do you understand that? So if you want to always feel powerful in your life, you get out of debt. You have at least an 8-month emergency fund. What is an emergency fund? It's an amount of money that can pay 8 months of bills that have got to be paid. I know it sounds like a lot, but you can do it. You start little by little. Besides that, you buy a home. You want to make sure that your home is paid off in full by the time you retire. You also need to diversify. You need to make sure that you're going into your superannuation fund. You have to make sure that you put more in that than even that you just do. You have to know that nobody is going to take care of you but yourselves as you get older. You have to have the right types of insurance in place. You have to have the right documents in place. Again, we heard Cheryl and Louise this morning talk about the estate planning of what do you do of the what ifs. How many of you in this room have a will? How many of you in this room, let me ask this, how many of you in this room do not have a will? Bet you're the same ones who stood up and have credit card debt. Right? People, it's not if you're going to die, it's when. It will happen. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's part of life. But when you don't plan for the what-ifs, you then are rendering yourself powerless. And when you render yourself powerless, what happens? The number one law of money again comes in. Power attracts money, but powerlessness repels it. So when it comes to your future, and a lot of you wanted to know, how do you get to the point where you're okay? You start getting involved with your money right here and right now. Mothers out there, especially single mothers. This is true throughout the entire world. If you are a single mother, you will tend to make sure that your children are given everything that they can possibly be given, financially speaking. And you will not save and do anything for yourselves. I'm here to tell you that will be one of the biggest mistakes you will ever make if that is what you do. Do you hear me? You have got to put the financial oxygen mask on yourself first. I'm not going to be able to say that enough. But don't feel that you're giving less to your children because you're all alone raising that child. Women, there is a saying in China that women hold up half the sky. I think they have that saying wrong. We hold up the entire sky. We hold up everything for everybody else. I'm asking you to hold it up for yourselves. Am I making sense? Anything else you want me to touch on? Melbourne? Say that again. Yes, the 8 qualities of wealth are harmony. What you think, say, and do has got to be one, people. You cannot be out of harmony. Balance. You need to be balanced in your life. You can't spend more than you have. You can't save everything that you have either. You need balance. Courage. Takes tremendous courage to be able to say to people what you're really thinking and do what you're really feeling, especially if you're a woman. It takes courage to stand in the truth, and you have got to stand in the truth. Generosity, that a gift that you give somebody else is only a true gift if it's a gift for you as well to give it. If you have to go into credit card debt to give a gift, that is not a gift. Cleanliness. Everything around you should be absolutely clean and in order. And if it's not, it is a sign that your physical body inside, your relationship, something is radically wrong. Wisdom. Everything you do, especially with your money, has to be wise. It should come from a very smart place. Beauty. It's the inner beauty of what somebody feels when they're in harmony and balance, and they have courage, and they have generosity, and they have cleanliness. Then they shine with this inner beauty. And all of those qualities are the 8 qualities of wealth. Somebody asked the question about good debt versus bad debt. 7. Let me try again then. So, I'm not good with numbers, you know. Right, whatever, right. So you have harmony, balance, courage, generosity, cleanliness, wisdom, beauty, happiness. Yes, thank you. I forgot happiness. When you are clean, when you are generous, when all of those things are true, you're happy. And isn't it the goal of life to be happy? To be happy, simply to wake up and say, thank you, bed. That's a happy way to live. And when you're happy, you make other people happy. So it's important that you keep good company, which is another law of money, by the way. Keep good company. If you keep company with people who constantly are spending more money than they have, are buying things, you'll end up that way as well. Another law of money. When you undervalue who you are, the world undervalues what you do. And when you undervalue what you do, the world undervalues who you are. All of you out there, especially those of you who stay at home to take care of your children, I would venture to say that if you have life insurance, and the only type of life insurance that you should have, by the way, is term insurance. Any other type of insurance is absolutely a waste of money. But I would venture to say that as a stay-at-home mother or father, you are not the one that is insured, because you're being undervalued as to what your job really is and how important it is. So it's important that not only does your working spouse or life partner have insurance, but you have it on yourself as well. So there's so many things to talk about when it comes to money and what to do with money. But all the actions in the world that you should be taking with money, you will not be able to do so if you are afraid. So fear, shame, and anger. Fear, shame, and anger are the 3 internal obstacles to wealth. And the only way to conquer fear is by taking an action. Do you understand me? And maybe that action is repeating your new truth. Maybe that action is simply paying your bills with your mate. That action has to be something to change your situation. So we come back to, what are you doing in your lives to be an obstacle in your own path to financial freedom? What are you thinking that is making you poor? What are you saying that is keeping money from coming in? What actions are you taking or not taking to change your entire situation around? You know, many, many years ago, I was with this incredible teacher in India, and she asked me a question, and it was an interesting question. She said, Suze Orman, how do you deceive yourself? And I tried to answer that question every possible way. And no matter what I said, she said, wrong, wrong, wrong. And finally, she was kind enough to put me out of my agony, and she answered the question for me. And the answer that she gave me is the same answer that applies to every single one of you in this room. How do you deceive yourself, Melbourne? How do you deceive yourself? And the answer to that question is by thinking you are not perfect. You are perfect, regardless of the cars you drive, the clothes you wear, the homes you live in, your job title. You are perfect just like you are. And if perfection is the starting point of the soul, which it is, ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine what is possible? You know, each and every single one of us comes into this world with two wings. One wing is the wing of grace. That wing is flapping by your side 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The wing that you bring into this equation is the wing of self-effort. When the wing of self-effort flaps equally hard as the wing of grace, you will have flight into the world of unlimited possibilities where anything and everything is possible. You just have to think it. You have to say it. You have to do it. You have to wake up every single morning and say, "Hi, bed." You have to look in the mirror and say, "I love myself." You have to believe from the bottom of your hearts that you deserve to have more and be more. You have to understand the absolute beauty that is contained in money because of what it can create and what a great world it can make if we just get involved with it. I just want to leave you, because I've left you with laws of money. I want to leave you with the 5 laws of life. And I believe from the bottom of my heart, if you live your lives by the laws of money that I imparted upon you today, along with these laws of life, that the magic that's out there waiting for you to catch will come into your hands and transform your beings on the spot. Law number 1. May every thought that you think be etched in fire in the sky for the whole world to see, for in fact it is. I am begging all of you to think great thoughts. I am begging you, think greatness about each other. Think greatness about yourselves. We live in a time where it's easy to think bad. It's easy to be angry and think angry thoughts. I'm asking you to think great thoughts from this second on. Law number 2, may every word that you say be said as if the world were one great big ear for everybody to hear. Think about the words that you say. You think that, you say a word, it doesn't matter. That word has energy and it travels out, and who knows where it ends up. Does it end up in some poor soul who's just vulnerable, had a horrible childhood, a horrible life, and now your words are funneling into them and they go crazy and they go and kill somebody, and you think maybe you didn't have anything to do with it? Maybe you did. So you have to think great thoughts. You have to say great words. And law number 3, may every action that you do recoil on top of your head, for in fact it will. If you do something, the person that's going to be affected by what you do will be you. It will be you. It won't be somebody else. It will be you in the long run. So you're going to think great thoughts, say great words, take great actions. This one is my favorite. May every wish that you wish another be a wish that you wish for yourself, for in fact it is. Wish others to get that job. Wish others to get a promotion. Wish greatness for others. Wish happiness on others. Walk around this world and wish happiness, greatness, love for everybody else that's out there. Because your wishes are a wish for you. Because it's what you're saying. It's your mantra. So if you're wishing badness on somebody and you're thinking it and you're saying it, it just comes back to you. So wish others greatness. And last but not least, may everything be done, and everything that you do be done, as if God himself or herself, up to you, is doing it. For in fact, he or she is. Everything that happens in this world, see it as an act of God. See it as an act of somebody wanting to give to you and take care of you and really be great with you in your own way, even if you may not know it. If you can live your life by those 5 laws, if you can live with the financial laws that I imparted, if you can step towards your money rather than away from it, you can not only transform your lives, as I said, but you can transform the entire world as well. You have now been introduced to Suze Orman, Melbourne. My wish for all of you is that this weekend absolutely transforms your lives so that you're radiant and as bright as the brightest sun out there. I hope that financial freedom blesses each and every one of your doorsteps from now until an eternity. I also want to change one saying. I know how Louise said, it's happy, healthy, happy, healthy, happy, healthy, dead. I think it could be happy, healthy, wealthy, happy, healthy, wealthy, happy, healthy, wealthy, dead, happy, healthy, wealthy family. Got that? Wealth can be passed down. Your happiness can pass down. So may financial freedom bless each and every one of your doorsteps, and may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you, Melbourne.